looking in regards of something in regards of Michael Rood. Apparently, it's the last thing in regards of these Hebrew manuscripts. Sadly, I guess one can get the book, that the guy wrote. But again, I really don't, when someone have found something, I think it should just, be available for everybody, But, apparently that's not going to, that's typical that people are keeping it to themselves. And anyway, but anyway, eventually, hopefully, it will begin to come forward in regard to these Hebrew manuscripts. That would be very interesting. And it's just sad that, let's get it out to the public, right? Anyway, so I was looking, I'm finding some issues. I think in regards of some of the things that Michael Rood is saying here and there in regard. But again, you eat the meat and spit out the bones and all that. And but he talks about that Jayshua went up to keep, Hanukkah. That's bullshit, as far as I can see, that's utter bullshit, And I think I actually looked into that before, And if you actually look in the Gospel of John, where it's, of course, you need to find the Feast of Hanukkah first, and it's has another name, if I remember. Of course, this is the Danish version I'm looking into, so that's not going to work on the English. See here where it is. It's John 10, I think, yeah. John 10, 22 in regards of the what is that called? Let's just find it in the biblical app here. Oops, if I can hit it. Let's see. Well, I could just maybe do like this. John 10. Would be nice if one just could say John 10, this and that, and it would jump forward to it. That would actually be very, I guess in the future maybe, things will be able to do that. But anyway, and it was at Jerusalem, the feast of dedication, that's Hanukkah, and it was winter. Yeah, because Hanukkah is in the winter. As we see it this year, it's very close to the pagan celebration of Yule, or Christmas, as people call it in English. We call it Yule in Denmark, going back to Jölner, and that links to the false pagan god of Odin. Of course, Christmas leads back to the Antichrist, in regards of the Mass. He's seen on the television on the 25 December and all that. That's the Antichrist of the number 666 doing his wicked things. But as you can see, Christmas is very close to how they are keeping it. But of course, in regards to the year, if you're following the land of Israel, you would actually be keeping Hanukkah a month before that. So, but anyway, the Jews... again, there's a lot of people still, doing research in regards to when the new year starts, and then more and more people that is interested in it and so forward. I think the Christians that is doing the research did a really good job in the research of this and putting forward all the information in regards of why, and in regards of the debate. There's always some what shall we say, conflicts sometimes in regards of this and that, and I think they really did a good job. So I think the new year started actually a month before, a moon before the Jews actually. But in regards to Judaism, they have this calculated calendar anyway. Anyway. But of course now Israel is on the map again, so they can begin to look at the land and see in regards to when the new year actually starts and begins. But overall, it's in spring. The new year is in spring. So even if we had even if we just move the pagan, even if we just remove the pagan New Year, the Roman pagan New Year of Janus, and just trashed that and actually went for a spring New Year, we would be a lot closer. And that seems to be the case, that some actually had that in the past. And they were made fun of, and then, whatever, Satan and Rome always tries to, distort things. Anyway, back to the topic, I guess. But Michael Rood was saying that, that Jayshua came down to celebrate Hanukkah. That's bullshit. That's utter bullshit, I'm just bullshit is bullshit, right? That's not true. It's just not true. He was already there. If you read, he's already there at, he's down there. He's down in Jerusalem at Sukkot. And Sukkot is one of the fall feast, and it's actually the last festival there is written in the Torah. And then you have the last great day. And if you actually go, so let's see here, if I can find it again, in regard to the last great day. There we go. Let's see, 7. So this is 7:37. Okay, let's go here. Here we see in the last day, that great day of the feast. So that would be the 8th day. That's the last great day. That's the last festival in the year written in the Torah. So that's the end festival, pretty much, of the year. Jesus stood and cried, saying, "If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believeth on me, as the scripture hath said, out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water." But Jayshua is already in Jerusalem at this point. And it is one of the commanded festivals that, let's see here. After these things, Jesus walked in Galilee, for he would not walk in the Jewry, because the Jews sought to kill him. Now the Jews' feast of tabernacle was at hand. Now, what is the Torah saying? Well, if Jesus was fulfilling Torah, he needed to go up, because that is that's one of the commandments. You have 3 festivals. You have Passover. In regards to the 7 days unleavened bread, I think that's one of them, that you need to come up to Jerusalem. And then you have Shavuot, which is the festival of weeks. And then you have Sukkot. That is the 3 times you need to go up to Jerusalem according to the Torah. So Jayshua, of course, needs to go up to Jerusalem at this point. So his brethren, and he has 4 of those. We have the names written in the New Testament. He also has sisters, 2 or 3 or more sisters. We don't really, the New Testament doesn't really give us totally, more information, in regards of his sisters. But anyway, as far as I know, but his brothers, we have the 4 names of those. So. And that would be younger brothers, not older brothers, as the Roman Catholics and the SDA and so forward wants to put forward. There's nothing in the New Testament that would point that this is older brothers, So there was, the Roman Catholics will say that, that Joseph had these children from another marriage and all that. That's nothing, absolutely nothing in the Bible to suggest that, as far as I know. So anyway, but of course they want, Mary to be an everlasting virgin. And if you want to, make her an everlasting virgin, of course you need to, make a twisting of scripture. And, because we know that Jesus has brothers, that's pretty clear, and of course, if Mary is an everlasting virgin, that couldn't be from her and all that bullshit. So they need to find another solution. But of course, again, already we see in the book of Matthew that Joseph knew Mary, after Jayshua was born. Joseph didn't know Mary until before Jayshua was born. Well, what does that mean? Well, that she was not a virgin anymore. Okay, so after Jayshua had been born, he's he's most likely going to, be waiting, those days that she's in the unclean process and all that. And yep, then he had what shall we call it? It's normal. It's his wife. So it's legal. So why wouldn't he? Just give me a break. Anyway, and of course, when you know your wife, sometimes she's becoming pregnant and thereby more children, right? And apparently it seems like they got a good amount of children afterwards. So his brethren therefore said unto him, Depart hence and go into Judea, that thy disciples also may see the works that thou doest. For there is no man that doeth anything in secret, and he himself seeketh to be known openly. If thou do these things, show thyself to the world. For neither did his brethren believe in him. It's not the thing in regards to believing in Jayshua. It's not in regards to believing that the man walked on this earth. The idea is, who was Jayshua? The Pharisees could see him, the leaders, the Jewish leaders, they could see him, they could talk to him and all that. That was not the thing in regards of believing in him. In regards of, if you do not believe that I am, you shall die in your sins. That was something special in regards of believing who he was. Anyway, then Jayshua said unto them, My time is not yet come, but your time is always ready. The world cannot hate you, but me it hated, because I testify of it, that the works thereof are evil. Go ye up unto this feast, I go not up yet unto this feast, for my time is not yet full come. Now, of course, Jayshua had to go up to this feast, and actually some of the translations seems to actually make him in some sense a liar in some sense. But anyway, okay. So when he had said these words unto them, he abode still in Galilee. But when his brethren were gone up, then went he also up unto the feast, not openly, but as it were in secret. You also have to remember that, the Judeans are not so happy about him, right? The Jews sought to kill him, right? So you have the Jews wanting to kill him. But anyway, so he goes up in secret. Then the Jews sought him, so they are searching for him at the feast, and said, Where is he? And because they know he has to be there. Why? Because it's a commandment of the Torah. So if he's not there, that's breaking the Torah, right? So he has to be there, keeping to the law of Moses. And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him, for some said, He is good, he is a good man. Others said, Nay, but he deceiveth the people. So again, we already see a split on people here. Howbeit, no man spake openly of him for fear of the Jews. Now above the midst of the feast, Jayshua went up into the temple and taught. So in the middle of Sukkot, that's festival, he goes up to the temple and begins to teach. And the Jews marveled, saying, How knoweth this man let us, having never learned? ? And Jayshua answered them and said, My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God, or whether I speak of myself. He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory, but he that seeketh his glory that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. Did not Moses give you the law? And here we go in regards. So he said, did not Moses give you the law? Right? And yet none, that's none, not one of you, none of you keepeth, that's none, zero, not a single one of them, according to this. Maybe it's more local, I don't know, but according to this, did not Moses give you the law, and yet none of you keepeth the law? ? So they don't keep the law of Moses. Okay. So what is Jayshua is not saying, hey, in regards of, he's actually pointing out, hey, you're not keeping the law of Moses. So what are they doing? Well, of course, they have all their man-made traditions and all that. But going further, what is the reason why he says this? You're not keeping the law of Moses. He says, why go ye about to kill me? Why do you want to kill me? We can take it in maybe in another version and see if, did not Moshe give you the Torah? Yet not one of you does the Torah or keeps the Torah. And then he goes on, why do you seek to kill me? Could that be the thing in regards to transgression? They're seeking to kill a righteous man. They're seeking to actually kill God. And the law says to love God, right? So if the law says to love Jehovah with all your soul, all your heart, all your being, and so forward, with all your strength, and yet they're seeking to actually do the opposite of trying to kill him with all their heart, all their mind, all their soul, and all their strength, to trying to kill him off, well, that would be a transgression of the law, wouldn't it? So in regards, so anyway, it's also interesting when Jayshua talking in regards to the Jews, and they're saying, hey, we have only one Father, and that's God and all that. And Jayshua said, well, if you had any love for the Father, you would love me because I've come from him, So we again see this, they're saying that they believe in God and so forward and love him and all that, and yet they kill him off, they kill him off and put him on a tree, and pretty much. So again, did not Moses give you the Torah, the law? Yet not one of you does the Torah. Why do you seek to kill me? So I do wonder in regards to the context, is he speaking generally to all the Jews here? I think he might be. Let's see here, whether I speak of. He who speaks from himself is seeking his own esteem, but let's see here. And about the middle of the festival, Jayshua went up into the set-apart place, and he was teaching. And the Yehudim, or the Jews, were marveling, saying, how does this man know letters, not having learned? Jayshua answered them and said, my teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. If anyone desires to do his desire, he shall know concerning the teaching, whether it is from God, or actually Elohim, that would be plural, but anyway, or whether I speak from myself. He who speaks from himself is seeking his own esteem, but he who seeks the esteem of the one who sent him is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. So let's see. But he who seeks the esteem of the one who sent him is true, and no unrighteousness is found in him. Okay. Did not Moses give you the Torah, the law, and yet not one of you does the Torah? Why do you seek to kill me? Again, it's, as far as I can see, it links together, Did not Moses give you the Torah, yet not one of you does the Torah? Why do you seek to kill me? It seems to be linked, that in regards you're not loving God because, Jayshua was God, and is to come. So, if Jesus or Jayshua is God, well, and they say they love God, well, of course they should love Jesus, right? And it doesn't seem like that's the case. So why do you seek to kill me? That's would be breaking the law. That's as far as I can get of that as anyway. And the crowd answered. So this is okay. So actually, he's talking to a crowd of Jews. So I guess it must be generally the Jews. Most of them, of course, you have the disciples and all that. So they wouldn't be, I think, accounted to that. They don't want to have their master slain, right? So they're actually very sad that Jesus is, put on the tree and all that. So anyway, the crowd answered and said, "You have a demon who seeks to kill you?" ? And Jayshua answered and said to them, I did one work, and you all marvel. Because of this, Moshe has given you the circumcision, though it is not from Moshe, but from the fathers. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. So if a man receives circumcision on the Sabbath, that's the seventh day of the week, the day of rest, so that the Torah of Moshe should not be broken. Are you wroth with me because I made a man entirely well on the Sabbath? Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. Therefore some of them from Jerusalem said, Is this not he whom they are seeking to kill? ? And see, he speaks boldly, and they say none at all to him. Could it be that the rulers truly know that this is truly the Messiah? And that's one of the things that the Jews seems to look to their leaders for guidance in regards of the Messiah and all that, instead of actually themselves doing studies of who Jesus actually is and so forth. They have apparently a trust to their so-called rabbis, that pretty much are blind and leads the blind. Anyway, but we know where this one is from, and when the Messiah comes, no one knows where he is from. And Jayshua therefore cried out in the set-apart place, teaching and saying, You both know me, and you know where I'm from. I have not come of myself, but he who sent me is true, whom ye do not know. But I know him because I am from him, and he sent me. So again, they didn't like that. So they were seeking to seize him, but no one laid a hand on him, because his hour had not yet come. And many of the crowd believed in him, and said, When the Messiah comes, shall he do more signs than these, which this one did? The Pharisees heard the crowd muttering these matters concerning him, and the Pharisees and the chief priest sent officers to seize him. Therefore Jayshua said to them, Yet a little while I am with you, then I go to him who sent me. You shall seek me, and you shall not find me, and where I am, you are unable to come. The Jews therefore said to themselves, Where is he about to go, that we shall not find him? Is he about to go to the dispersion among the Greeks, and to teach the Greeks? What is this word which he said, You shall seek me, and you shall not find me, and where I am, you are unable to come? And on the last day, the great day of the festival, Jayshua stood and cried out. And this is the last great day, if you read the Torah and all that, but anyway, Jayshua stood and cried out, saying, If anyone thirst, let him come to me, and let him who believes in me drink. As the scriptures said, out of his innermost shall flow rivers of living water. And this he said concerning the Spirit, which those believing in him were about to receive, for the set-apart Spirit was not yet given, because Jayshua was not yet esteemed. So, I guess in regards of the esteemed, is that in regards of when does that exactly happen? Is that in regards of when he's executed, or in regards of being raised up from the dead and now sits at his Father's right hand? I'm not entirely sure about that. But there's something in regards of where he talks to the Father about, I can't remember the whole detail on that. So many from the crowd, when they heard the word, then said, This truly is the prophet. He was this prophet. He's really, he's not much more than a prophet, But anyway, of course he's a prophet, but he's much more than a prophet. He's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords and God. Anyway, others said, This is the Messiah, but others said, Does the Messiah then comes out of Galilee? But did not the scripture say that Messiah comes from the seed of David and from the village of Bethlehem, where David was? So they're trying to figure out things and all that. So the division came about among the people because of him. And some of them wished to take him, but no one laid hands on him. The officers therefore came to the chief priests and Pharisees, and they said to them, Why did you not bring him? The officers answered, Never has any man spoken like this man. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. So forward. And the thing is, he goes to the Mount of Olives and so forward. And you have the caught in adultery, which apparently seems to, according to the sources, in regards to the Hebrew New Testament, or some of the, I don't know how many books there is. They don't really give. I haven't seen the last one they have of these four. But they just showed some images from different of these books, but I haven't heard them say anything in regards of which kind of books do they actually have in Hebrew. I guess one needs to buy the book to get that information and all that. I don't know. Of course, I don't have that much resources. It's just, yeah. So, of course, that would probably not be a good, it's a Sabbath and so forward, and no buying or selling and so forward. And at dawn he came again into the set-apart place, and all the people were coming to him, and having sat down, he was teaching them. And the scribes and the Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in adultery, and having set her in the midst. So also I've seen in regards to the Aramaic, they have some ideas why it might have been lost in the Aramaic, and as a slip of the scribe or something like that. And but the question is in regards to how did it actually. Apparently, they say it's in the Nazarene gospel. So that's the Hebrew. The Hebrew. So the book of John must of course be there in Hebrew. I think they showed the book of Matthew as well. I don't remember if they showed other books in regards to the Hebrew, but anyway. I would like to know more, but I guess they're sitting on the information and just instead of just getting it out there. Needing to pay for the information, I guess. Let's see here. I have difficult, with the idea of, when people are selling stuff and yet wanting donations. I do have when they have products to sell and yet they also have. This seems a little. Let's see. And in the Torah, Moshe commanded us that such should be stoned. Anyway, I shouldn't probably go into those things in regards, as long as it's nice to see that information is getting out there. So it's better than all the worldly stuff, of course, Let's see here. So we see that Jayshua is already in Jerusalem, right? He went up to Jerusalem in regards of Sukkot. Now, what is the next festival that the Jews would be keeping in the first century? Well, Hanukkah. When is actually Purim? I can't remember when Purim is actually kept. Should have it in my calendar actually, in the Roman pagan sun calendar. Let's see if we can find Purim. I should actually know but the thing is, I don't really care about these festivals, which is not found in the Torah. Now, it is true that Purim is actually found in the Bible, but again, it's not found in the Torah, but it is found in the book of Esther and all that. So, but why would I keep I don't see why. And I know there was, I know the Jews had issues with it as well in the beginning. If one goes and look on the information, you can see they had issues in regard. They are thinking, isn't this adding to the Torah? And so forward. So, and there was things going on. I can't remember all of it, but it's some time since I actually did the research. But I don't feel like I should keep it at all. I just Purim and Hanukkah, just trash it pretty much. It's not part of the Torah, and there's much enough to learn already in regards of the other festivals that we're not keeping. Here they call it Easter, as you see, Easter's, and Easter of course goes back to the pagan goddess and not in regards of New Year biblical. I guess I wonder if that's me that actually have written that in. I'm not sure. New Year biblical New Year. Friday the 8th March, I might have been the one, I'm not sure. Have I put that in? March. I think I might have put that in, that the Friday the 8th of March 2019 was the new biblical New Year. Or maybe it's in regard, I don't know. I can't remember. We're 1 month more than what the Jews have at the moment. That's the thing that I follow. Whereas there we Valentine's pagan tradition as well, as I understand. Here we have New Year of what? New Year's Day. Okay, that's January. That's the pagan New Year of Janus. Apparently I have a hard time finding Purim. Maybe I went over it. It's just a little Purim. Rosh Hashanah. Don't really see Purim any place. Tisha. No. Trinity. Whatever. I would have thought it would be here someplace. Oh, there we go. Purim. There we go. So that's the March. That would like be in spring, right? I think. March, right? Let's see here. March. I'm not so good to so March. Yeah, March would be, yeah, that's also pretty close to the real New Year. Oops, going back. March. Let's see here. March. Let's see. Yeah, the New Year's there. According to, I do wonder which kind of New Year in regards to biblical I was thinking of if I wrote this. If that was in regards to the beginning of when but where did Purim go? Where's Purim now? Oh, Purim is now there. Okay, so that's okay. So, but of course, okay. So yeah, it's around that time. So in the spring, that Purim is. But again, Purim is not found in the Bible. So. Sorry, it's not found in the Torah. It's found in the Bible. Actually, it's found in the book of Esther, but it's not found in the. So as far as my research goes, I don't see why I should be concerned about that. Therefore, Jayshua spoke to them again, saying, "I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall by no means walk in darkness, but possess the light of life." The Pharisees therefore said to him, "You bear witness about yourself, your witness is not true." And Jayshua answered and said to them, "Even if I witness concerning myself, my witness..." But anyway, the idea is he's already in Jerusalem. So as you can see, it goes on and on and on, and he's still going on in Jerusalem. And therefore they picked up stones to throw at him, but Jayshua was hidden and went out of the set apart place, going through the midst of them, and so passed by. So he's still in Jerusalem, because the temple is in Jerusalem, right? So they're still going around in regards of, and he said to him, "Go wash in the pool of Shiloah," which means sent. Now again, that's in Jerusalem, right? So, and they have digged good the side of the pool. You can actually go and see in Jerusalem. Sadly, they are not allowed to dig further because apparently there's a Christian church and they have, have some wonderful trees. It's like if I remember correctly, they had like trees and all that. So, of course, if they want to dig further in regards of this pool, they would need to pretty much destroy those wonderful trees that stands there. But anyway, we know where it is. So, and they can excavate it, further and see what they, might find of interesting things. And so people also can see it, and so forth. But yeah, as far as it goes at the moment, it's on church ground, and there are a lot of trees. I do wonder if the roots could have damaged, some of the things that is underneath it. I guess that might be a possibility. It's weird to see how people apparently just put dirt over things or something like that and then build things. I don't know. It's just, okay. So he goes on and he's continued to teach and all that. And he says, "I'm the good shepherd." And he's pointing out he's good, right? He's the good shepherd. I am the good shepherd, and I know mine, and mine know me. And Jayshua was asking, well, but who is good but God? Well, it's people will use that as to say, well, Jesus, is saying this and so thereby he cannot be God. No, he's just asking, why are you calling me good? Because there's only God is the only one that is good. Now, of course, Jayshua is God. But it's more like a question, I think, to the guy coming, if you have to take all of the things, why are you calling me good, Because there's only one, it's only God that is good. Anyway, of course, Jayshua is God. And he says, I am the good shepherd. I think there's other places where, I'm not entirely sure, but at least this is one of the places where he talks about he's the good shepherd, So he actually proclaims him good, right? The good shepherd. Anyway. So they go on, these are not the words of one possessed, and many of them said he has a demon and is mad. Why do you listen to him and all that? And he's still in Jerusalem. There's nothing that, that says that he's going out of Jerusalem. And they picked up stones and all that. They're not too happy about him. And of course, we get to the time of, actually, this is the time of, let's see here, where is it, the time of, yeah, here we go. At the time of Hanukkah came to be in Jerusalem, and it was winter. I do wonder what they have here. Anyway, Feast of Dedication, during which candles are lit every evening to commemorate the Maccabean victory over Greeks in 165 BCE. And again, this is like a second Sukkot that evolved into, what it is now. And they have like a menorah of 9 candles, but that's not biblical, The menorah has 7 candles. So anyway, and Jayshua was walking in the set-apart place in the porch of Shlomo. So the Yehudim, or the Jews, surrounded him and said to him, how long do you keep us in suspense? If you are the Messiah, say to us plainly. Again, it's just saying that this is the time of Hanukkah. So you have Sukkot, and after Sukkot, you can actually see it on the calendar. Should be able to see, here we go. Here you have Sukkot. So Sukkot is in October in the Roman pagan sun calendar, the Julian, Gregorian, Romish calendar. But anyway, so there you go. So that's Sukkot, and then you have November, which actually means number 9 in Latin, but anyway, and December, that's number 10 in Latin actually. And then you see there's Hanukkah. So that's around, I guess, 2 months, a little over 2 months maybe, apart from each other in regards to these celebrations. So Jayshua must have been teaching in Jerusalem for around 60 days or something like that. But it doesn't say that he's going away from Jerusalem. He's staying at Jerusalem until this festival. So that's around 2 months that they have him teaching in the temple and all that for 2 months, as far as it must be, So, and of course, Jayshua, we see in one of the books of the gospel talks, when he's a child and says, didn't you know that I have to, do my father's business or something like that. So it wouldn't be a surprise if Jayshua was actually in the temple for a good amount of times teaching. So, but in any case, it doesn't say that he's going away from Jerusalem or anything like that. It talks about him actually talking with the people and staying in, being in Jerusalem pretty much. Doesn't say that he goes home to Galilee at that point. It's so that Michael Rood says that he went up to Hanukkah is bullshit. I don't know if he just made a mistake or something like that, but that's just as far as I can see, he needs to he needs to put some proof on the table for that, because I can't see it. What Jayshua do is just to stay in Jerusalem. He's going up to Sukkot. And he's staying after Sukkot in Jerusalem until the time of Hanukkah. And then at the time of Hanukkah, he goes away from Jerusalem. So we see this, let's see. So the Jews surrounded him and said to him, "How long do you keep us in suspense? If you are the Messiah, say to us plainly." Jayshua answered them, "I have told you, and you do not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness concerning me. But you do not believe because you are not of my sheep. As I said to you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give them everlasting life, and they shall by no means ever perish, and no one shall snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand." So they're not able to snatch them out of his hands, and they're not able to snatch them out of the Father's hands. And there we go. So already there we see some connections in regards of the Son and the Father. And then he says, "I and my Father are one." Now, if you're thinking like a Jew or thinking like what a Jew would, they know the Shema Yisrael. That's listen, Israel, our, Yehovah, our gods, actually plural, Eloheinu, Yehovah are one. And Jesus is saying, "I and my Father are one." I think they would have understood that instantly in regards of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Yehovah Eloheinu, Yehovah Echad. They would, "I and my Father are one." I think they would have understood the thing. I think they would have picked that up pretty quickly. And what does the Jews do? Again, the Jews picked up stones to stone him. They absolutely understood what he said, I think. It was just this, like, they are absolutely connecting. I think they are quickly to connect the things, and they know what he's saying, and they think it's blasphemy. So, and Jayshua answered them, "Many good works have I shown you from my Father. Because of which of these works do you stone me?" And the Jews answered him, saying, "We do not stone you for a good work, but for blasphemy. And because you, being a man, make yourself God, Elohim." So, and Elohim is actually plural. But anyway, I don't know where they get that from in regards to plurality, but in this version. But maybe from the Aramaic, I don't know. Maybe it would, of course, be interesting again to see the Hebrew manuscripts and all that. So anyway, Jayshua answered them, "Is it not written in your own Torah, in your own law? I said you are gods." And actually, it seems to be pointing to Psalms. So I'm not sure if that is, in regards of your gods. It goes to Psalms. So I do wonder what is going on with that. "I said you are Elohim, and all of you are sons of the Most High." That's Psalm 82. But it seems like it's the Torah, right? So maybe the Hebrew manuscript might, or maybe the Aramaic. I don't know. Let's see what the Aramaic says. Said to them, Jayshua, not is it thus written in your law? In your law, what word is that? Oh, it doesn't work at the moment. Sometimes it's broke, even if it's actually, if I go to, no, it's probably not the dictionary, maybe. Does it open? No. That's a good question. It's found someplace. There's so many. Oh, maybe, no, probably not. No, that's not the one. No, of course it's not. Oh, my brain, sorry. That should be, I have where one can look up the words. Oh, there we go, maybe. No. It should be somewhere. Maybe I forgot to install it again. There's so many things, and there's a lot of things that I don't use. I would think it would be here. But it doesn't. Eastern, no. Can't remember the exact name of it either, but doesn't seem to be there. I did try to uninstall it at some point because I had some problems with the program that I still have, and I'm not sure why I have the problems with the program. I really should get that solved. I'd used this program for 2 years without any problem, and then I began to have some problems with it, where it can't find the Bible versions apparently at some point. So it gives me this issue sometimes. So I tried to uninstall the Aramaic because I thought maybe it was the Aramaic modules that did it, but I didn't really have anything to totally pinpoint what is the problem. It might just be an update of the program. It might be an update of the system itself of Android. I can't really remember when it began, so I'm not, because there was a lot of things going on at that point of time. Anyway, sadly, I can't apparently look up the word because I can't seem to find the thing here. This is like commentary, so it should be in the dictionary section, I would think. No, I don't know. Let's try to look in regards of internal SD. Programs. Aramaic trial removed. My sword modules. Okay, let's try this one. So we have the ain't Lex, ain't Evoke, and ain't BBL. Then we have the FCAB, the owned notes, I don't wonder which one it is. Or maybe it's... I guess this is from the copied. I would think it would be in the dictionary thing. Ain't. Yeah. Maybe I haven't copied that. Let's try to copy. And go this way. And... oh no, come on. Preload. Let's see if it wants to. There we go. And we need to go down to the program itself. My sword. And dictionaries. Seems I haven't. Okay, so apparently I don't know if this will work. But let's copy it. Okay. Apparently it didn't seem to be there. I don't know, because the problem is I have older versions, I have newer versions, and so hopefully I'm not mixing it together, these things. I guess I'll have to restart the program. I guess I must have forgotten that to copy that at the that's some the thing is it's not always easy to figure things out. Okay, let's see if it's there now. Oh, there we go. That is. And let's see if we can go back. Maybe it actually just works like doing like this. Oh yeah, nice, great. So there we go. So what word was it? Where in regards of the law, uses in the New Testament. I have, of course, DNR. Was probably the wrong word? Maybe in your law. Maybe this one. Meaning law, Banamuskuun or something like that. Yeah, it seems like that variations of Aramaic languages and all that, so that doesn't make it easier, as well. So I'm not entirely sure what Hebrew to go, Aramaic to go after in regards to pronunciation and all that. So that doesn't make it easier. I have one version where the Nakuts is one way, and then you have the other, where it seems again the ways of saying things are differently. So, and then of course I have the version in regards of the accordance in regards to the Aramaic, where they don't have Hebrew letters, which is very, very. Yeah, I really, that's very sad of them. Give me a break. And of course there's different Aramaic letters, and yet they couldn't just fix it in Hebrew letters. You got to be kidding me. They should know how to do that pretty easily, I would think. But anyway. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, and all that. So, we become the children of God, right? the children of God who is in the Son, and the Son is in his Father, and they are in us by the Holy Spirit, right? So we in them and they in us, pretty much. Being one, being passing from death unto life. Being in the living gods. Anyway, my Father which gave them me is greater than all, and no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. Jayshua answered them, Many good works have I showed you from my Father. For which of those works do you stone me? And think about if he actually has been there for 2 months. Think about how much he actually of time that we that one could have had in regards of Jayshua. Who wouldn't have loved to sit with with Jayshua for 2 months, and being able to ask and hear him talk and all that? I would have been amazing. So yeah. Or just the disciples, the disciples that knew Jayshua directly. That would have been awesome, I guess the problem, of course, in regards to the temple was that Gentiles are not allowed, right? So if he's actually going into the temple in regards of teaching, I'm not sure if Gentiles are actually allowed there. So as I understand it, there's, we see this where Gentiles is not allowed, to see the signs talking about you're not allowed if you're a Greek, Gentile, whatever, to come further, you're not allowed to pass this and all that. So, so how would that work out in regards of if Jayshua is teaching in the temple, is that then only for the Jews or so as a Gentile, I wouldn't even be able to, maybe, I don't know. That would be interesting, because it says, he's standing in the temple, right? Yes, as far as I understand it. He's up inside the temple, and so that, where are Gentiles actually allowed? We know the Jews, according to the book of Acts, they pretty much end up thinking that Paul took a Greek inside this, and that was one of the things that stirred them up. But I think that might be wrong. But of course, you have to see in regards to the first thing. I think they might have been correct on that. I don't know. But that was the charge. The second thing was just a thing that I guess they just ran with it in some sense. And they might have been wrong on that account. So I don't think Paul would actually have taken him inside the temple, but they didn't see the guy, so they according to the book of Acts. So anyway, so the Jews answered him, saying, For a good work we stone thee not, but for blasphemy, and because thou, being a man, makest thyself God. They are absolutely on, and again, Jews today still understand that Jayshua is proclaiming himself God. So but of course, they don't believe, well, not of course, but, you see the Jews that, well, they reject that. So, anyway, Jayshua answered them, Is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods? And again, that was the thing in regards of, I do wonder if the Psalms would be considered the law. I don't think it would. I don't know what is going on with this. It would be something to further research into. It would be nice to actually look into the Hebrew, and apparently we have connection problems. It's just bullshit. But anyway, but that's what it says. So Jesus answered them, Is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods? So again, is the Psalms the law? No, it doesn't, I think he would have said, maybe, I guess, I don't know, they use, the law and the prophets and the writings, so, that's words for the so-called Old Testament. And we also see Christians using this, the law and the prophets, and in the New Testament, we see the law and the prophets and the writings being used in regards to the scriptures, I guess he could just have said the scriptures if that was, but this actually says nomos, so that would be in regards to the law. Maybe there's something, in the Torah someplace I haven't seen, or that he could be alluding to, but in any case, I don't know. So, it's a little tired already. That was quick. I didn't sleep so well. Living in an apartment and all that, and the person living under me, were awake a lot of the night, and they're really, really loud. And of course, I need to pee as well, up and down, peeing and all that. So that was a good combination of not getting a totally, sleep from laying down to going up. Anyway, it's incredible how dry I also felt. Of course, I've done some exercise and all that, and then of course taking the diflucan, which is antifungal. But I was eating 5 cucumbers. I actually ate all the 5 cucumbers that I bought after I'd been out swimming, and yet I was still thirsty, and it's incredible. So, but the body seems to really, really want to have water. In the morning I drank a good. Actually, is that already empty? Yeah, that's empty already. I need to refill it and get some more water. Anyway, Jayshua answered them, "Is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods?" And again, I'm not sure in regards of, it might be a mistranslation from the Hebrew or the Aramaic. Again, the Aramaic does seem to say law as well. So it would be interesting to actually look into if we actually now have the Hebrew manuscripts of the New Testament. That's just awesome too. You can use all these, I'm not like, you can use all these different manuscripts to see if there's, and if you have a thing, you might see if it does, might be a mistranslation or whatever, and this and that. It can help you, look into in these different manuscripts when you find something that might be a little, bop. Anyway, I don't know. Again, I don't have the Hebrew manuscripts, and again, apparently it seems to be pretty, in some sense new for the public overall. So I really hope they begin to, we know there's multiple Hebrew manuscripts of Matthew, but I didn't know if there was other Hebrew, but apparently there is, apparently. And this guy talks about, he's following the Nazarenes and all that. And I, reading about the Nazarenes, they go to Pella, and there seems to be, apparently he follows them to Spain. He found a source that seemingly point them to Spain. So he says they actually never went away. They just, anyway, very interesting. It would be very interesting to find, to see where he has, where it has led him, because I was pretty much okay. So they went to Pella, and then what? What happened to them? Did they go to, and we know John and Philip was in Asia Minor, so probably, you would think that a lot of those disciples might have gone to that place, but apparently, anyway, whatever. I'll have to look into that. It's interesting how little we actually know about the Nazarenes, that they have been persecuted from, pretty much all angles, they were persecuted by the Jews themselves in regards of Judaism, because the Nazarenes proclaimed Jayshua the Messiah. And so they were, hated by those and persecuted. And then, of course, they have been persecuted by the Romanizers as well, because those Nazarenes was keeping the law of Moses. They still thought that the law of Moses should be kept. So the Romanizers didn't like them, because the Romanizers have a way of breaking the law and coming up with Roman pagan traditions and so forward. So, of course, they didn't like the Nazarenes either. No. So that's interesting. Anyway, Jayshua answered them, "Is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods?" Again, I'm not sure where he's referring to, but again, I'm still having a lot to study and research and learn. And that's the wonder, you can pretty much, I think, use your whole life studying the Bible and still grow in it. There's always something to learn, it's just incredible. But you get closer and closer to things. You get you get things locked in some sense. You begin to figure out what the Bible actually says, and thereby Satan has a harder time actually deceiving you, because if you can stand on the Bible, that's the thing. Anyway, Satan can't lure you into reincarnation, doctrine and all that, because what the Bible says, that you either die once or you die twice. You're either born once or you're born twice. If you're born once, you die twice. If you're born twice, you die once. Okay, so that's pretty much yeah. No reincarnation as of such, in regards of their idea of pagan reincarnation and all that. Anyway, let's go on. If he called them gods unto whom the word of God, if he called them gods, I do wonder if, is he talking about, I do wonder if we had this episode in another gospel actually, to see what, because sometimes there's some, we have to remember that these 4 books are testimonies in regards to what happened and all that. And, sometimes another book actually have some details that, so I do wonder if this thing is actually written in one of the other books in regards of gods. I said, yeah, and actually it's interesting, right? But because actually here they actually use the plural, gods, plural. Isn't that interesting? The thing that is interesting, in regards to this, if you go to look to the book of Psalm, it will probably use the word Elohim, so that's plural, and yet other places it will say it's singular. So, but here it actually uses this if we go to, let's see if we can find it, and I'll see if I can show what I mean. If we go to Psalms 82, if this is the place that, I said you are Elohim and all of you are sons of the Most High. So it's Elohim. So if I actually go to can we actually go select maybe? Okay. And let's go into the Hebrew. And we can see Ani Amati Elohim, and it translates as gods. Atem uvene elyon kulechem. So here we see that actually in the New Testament actually uses the plural. But if you actually see the H430, many times it's translated as singular instead of plural. There we go. See God, and you could take other versions as well, but you could just take the King James version as well. It has the Strongs as well. Let's see King James version. There we go. And you can see in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth. Now there's 2 words actually in Genesis 1:1 that is plural that they have, and that's why I'm not a King James version onlynist. And they took out the name of God as well in the version. In the beginning, the gods, plural, created the heavens, plural, and the earth. But again, they go on to translate it as singular, singular, singular. But if the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit is already there, well, it would make sense in regards of being plural. And then, of course, in Genesis 1:2, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of the gods moved, plural, not God. And the Spirit of God, the Spirit of the gods moved upon the face of the waters. It gives a whole new, when you go into the Hebrew and actually just are honest with the translation, as far as I can see, it just gives the whole new, deepness in regards to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's not singular, it's plural. And the gods said, again plural, let there be light, and there was light. One of the places that you can actually see where it's interesting, one of the places, actually there's more places than this, but this is one of the interesting places. They translate it as God singular, right? And God, you can see H430 is Elohim. You push it and it's Elohim. It's plural. And they use it for different, gods, angels, divine ones, and so forth. Anyway, but again, the King James Version have a way of taking one Hebrew word and then translate it to multiple English words. And that's not, it just doesn't make it easier for the person to actually follow along. So, if you can actually have one word that describes, that you can translate every single Hebrew word, why are you not doing it? Because you're losing a lot of information. I know that every time you translate from one language to another, you will lose information. It's pretty much impossible not to lose information because of the language. The words might mean different things in one language than another. So we will always lose information from translating from one language to another language. But we want to have it as close as possible, right? So, but it's sad, anyway, let's get back to it. And God said, it's plural, but they translate as singular, as many translations does, said, let us, let us? Yeah, let us, that's plural, right? Oh yeah, make man in our, that's plural again, image, after what? Our likeness. So we have like 3 plural words in Hebrew, and yet this word actually is also plural. So actually, and the gods, plural, said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, working together as one in regard. So anyway, so the gods, plural, created man in his own image. In the image of the gods created he him. Male and female created he them, and so forth. And you see it other places where, what's called, where it talks about let us go down and confuse their languages, or that Yaakov or Jacob was fighting with us or having a struggle with us and all that. I can't remember what book that's one of the prophets. I think it's one of the 12 so-called minor prophets, anyway. That it actually expands on what is going on in regards of when Yaakov is fighting this angel, this malach, this messenger. Apparently he was fighting God. Anyway, Ani Amati Elohim, and we're going a little back, a little back. Jayshua said that, Moses wrote about him, right? So, let's go back in the Torah and see, right, because Jayshua is the truth, right? So if he's the truth, he should be speaking the truth, right? And if he's speaking the truth, then it should be truth, right? So we should expect it actually to be there in the Torah. And yeah, anyway, 2 seconds, I'll just get some water here. I'm getting really thirsty. The network status is pure. It would be nice if they could actually, it's really sad because the application was actually pretty good. It is one of the best recording applications there is for Android, but it could be so much better, Instead of making like this message, they could make a little blinking thing or whatever instead, or having a feature that you could turn it off or whatever, or actually just upload in a lower resolution and all that, but the application doesn't have the capacity. Oh, I forgot my breakfast in regards of my meat. Oh my. Oh yeah, I remember in regards of beginning to eat meat as well. That is also some of the things that actually the body seems to need a lot of water in regards of. So yeah. Anyway, let's get back to it. So. Do you say of him whom the Father set apart and set into the world, you are blaspheming because I said I am the Son of God, or Elohim? If I do not, again, I don't know where they get the Elohim here from, the Aramaic or the Greek or whatever, and it's just going wild with the statues is poor. Hopefully the sound still works, I don't really, if the image doesn't really go along, that would not be a big problem. the thing would be the sound. If I do not do the works of my Father, do not believe me. But if I do though you do not believe me, believe the works, so that you know and believe that the Father is in me and I in him. So here Jayshua, and this is at the time of Hanukkah. If you know, here we go. Hanukkah. So this is the time of Hanukkah. So this is in the winter. So let's see here. But if I do, though you do not believe me, believe the work, so that you know and believe that the Father is in me and I in him. Therefore they were seeking again to seize him, but he went forth out of their hand, and went once more to the other side of the Jordan, or something like that. Jordan, or is it that Jordan, or I'm not entirely sure. Of the Jordan, or I think it might be to the. I'm not sure. What do we have in the King James Version? Is it Jordan? Yeah, Jordan. And went away again beyond the Jordan into the place where John the Baptist at first baptized, and there he abode. And many resorted unto him and said, John did no miracle, but all things that John spake of this man were true, and many believed on him there. So here we see that Jayshua is going away from Jerusalem at that point. But as far as I can see from the book of John, he was already there. He came to Jerusalem at Sukkot, and then he stayed there, and pretty much until the festival of Hanukkah, which is not written in the Torah, the law of Moses, and just because he was there, just because it says it was at the time of Hanukkah, doesn't mean he was celebrating it. It doesn't mean he was coming up to it at all. You know, he was already there. He was already there teaching. You know, I don't think he was celebrating Hanukkah. I don't see why he would be celebrating Hanukkah. You know, but in any case, we don't have any verification that he was celebrating Hanukkah. So again, and it's not found in the law of Moses, so I don't see any reason why he would be celebrating the. If anything, he might have, you know, I don't know. We don't have information on it. If he, you know, what he did at that point, you know, besides what we have in the books of the gospel. So, books of the gospel. I guess that's number 11. I see here. So that's pretty much it. That was just a pointer. I'm in the wrong version. I was looking for the thing where the blue was there, so I could find it quickly. Apparently I can't find it quickly again, you know, regards. Oh, there we go. No. Oh, here we go. Hanukkah. At that time, the Hanukkah came to be in Jerusalem, and it was winter. That doesn't say he celebrated. Where do you see that it says he celebrated it? Absolutely nowhere. Where do you see that it says that he went up to celebrate it? Nowhere, because he was already there in Jerusalem, and he was walking in the set apart place in the porch of Shalom. Sometimes a little hard with all these different words, right? The King James Version says, and Jayshua, or Jesus, walked in the temple in Solomon's porch. Do I have one of the other versions actually that? No, I don't have that installed apparently. I'm not sure if it's, maybe I don't, maybe it's not available. Oh yeah, that was in regards to, the ESV. I have it on another Bible program. But they closed, you know, they're not allowed to have this ESV 2011 anymore, which I think is just, you know, bullshit pretty much. I think it's very sad, at least. You know, that was the ESV. I do still have it in one of the free programs here. It was available for free download and all that, and then apparently they retracted it, and it's not. They are not. You know, the free are not allowed to have it anymore. And the problem is, it just makes more issues, you know, because I already have it in accordance. So it's not a big. What annoys me is that I'm not allowed to have it in the application that I want to have it in because they didn't. It's just bullshit. And then sadly, I didn't have a backup when I deleted. I wanted to clean up in my applications and see if I could actually just go with one application of these three, because these three applications actually uses pretty much the same sources and all that. So I was looking into maybe I can just narrow it down. You have so many programs, it just doesn't make it easier, because you get, you tend to, if you're not using an application, you tend to forget some of the things, how to use it, this and that. And it's not making it easier. But anyway, but I have it here, like, in my, but application is still pretty slow. But here we have the ESV. So it's not because I don't have it in on the phone. So, whatever the case, I have it, but it's just annoying when they take something that has been free and just take it away. Actually, in the beginning, they actually translate heavens as plural, but still not God. But there should be Strongs in this as well, where if you do like this, and apparently I need to push this down here to actually get the information. I have no idea why it wouldn't come out with the information from the beginning. But of course, that's something I could ask them about and make a video or whatever and ask them. Sometimes it's easier to just make a video and just show what you're meaning instead of writing. So I just send it to the persons with the program and say this is the problem, as you can see, and so forward, and then they can see what the problem actually is, what you mean, So, but as you can see, I have I guess it's not in regards to the Strongs. This is KM Hebrew Dictionary. I'm not sure what the big difference is in regards to the KM and the Strongs. I should have the Strongs, but apparently Strongs doesn't seem to work. I'm not sure why. Again, that would be a thing that I could ask them as well. They have used brown as a color. You don't see brown used so much. It's interesting. It's not bad. It's different. But in regards to settings, you can set up tool display. I can't even source text, maybe. No, key text. Oh, you can actually key text. What is this? I don't know what this exactly is, but I don't have the other one. Okay, so the New Testament, and then we have the Peshitta source text. Apparently no applicable. Okay. I don't know. Hebrew Peshitta New Testament, Peshitta New Testament tagged. Let's just try to take this and see what happens. I have no idea. But there was some place in regards of no. There was a setting that. That's the thing. You have so many settings, and then of course the problem is if you actually whatever. Source text copying versus highlight. There's a place where you could actually decide. Oh, there we go. Okay, amplification settings. You have the English 1930 Webster's Dictionary. That's nice. And you have other dictionaries as well. I haven't really, but that's Webster's Dictionary from 1913. That's nice to have. And then you have the Greek Strong's Dictionary, and the Hebrew. There you have the Hebrew Strong's Dictionary and the Koldenberger Mounts Hebrew. And I'm not sure what's the difference is, but it does not seem to work with the Hebrew. Also Latin, I don't have any modules installed for that, but it doesn't really seem to work with the Hebrew Strong's Dictionary. I don't know if it's an error or, but if you do like this, and you get darkness H2822 Rosech, and it still goes to the KM Hebrew Dictionary. I don't know why. And then we have the Webster's as well. The absence of light, darkness. So apparently the Webster is also being put on. but not really anything in regards to the King James Bible. So, the Strong's, they're using the KM Hebrew dictionary instead of the I don't know why. I know when I use the ESV in and Bible that I could actually use, the Strong's. It was like this, and you can just push and. Well, I haven't downloaded Strong's Hebrew or Greek dictionary at the moment, but so I'm not sure what's the big difference in regards of the KM or the Strong's, but it would be nice to actually use both, when you have them, or at least have the possibility. I don't know. Anyway, I guess that's all for me, and I guess it became a little long-winded in some sense. But again, if you read from the time of when he's going up to Jerusalem, it doesn't really. If you read it all, as far as I know, there's nothing that it just talks about him still being there. Now the Jews' feast of tabernacles was at hand. Well, that's the feast of Jehovah according to the Bible. So, anyway, so he goes up at the time of the tabernacles, as he should, because he has to keep the Torah, right? And then he's just staying there until the time of Hanukkah, and that would be around 2 months, and then he leaves. Anyway, I guess it was a little off topic because the whole idea was actually in regards to the law, right? In regards of this, that you're not keeping the law of Moses. Not one of you are keeping the law of Moses because, why do you want to kill me, right? That's the whole thing. That was the thing. And again, it seems like that, that it might, the highest commandment is to, love God, right? So if the highest commandment is to love God and Jesus is God or Jayshua is God, by keeping the highest commandment found in the very law, you will also have salvation. It will lead you to love Jayshua and thereby believe in him, and thereby you're keeping the law and you're finding mercy as well. So, anyway. But of course, a lot of Christians believe that the law is abolished. Well, again, why is it that we have prophecies about the future where it talks about that that because of lawlessness, that the love will grow cold? Well, it seems like the law is still at hand. Why is it that Jayshua says to future people in the future, what is it called? I can't remember the word for word, but he says to them something like, verily I tell you, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity, lawlessness, ye that are without the law. And yet people say, the law is abolished. Really? So why is Jayshua saying these things if the law is abolished? And why do we see him again and again and again saying, go and he's pointing to the law of Moses, these different places, in regards of when he healed the leper, he says, go to, and do what is written in the law of Moses in regards of a testimony for them, when you're healed from when he was healed in regards of leprosy. And we see him saying to the woman caught in adultery, go and sin no more. And the guy that was blind, he also says, don't sin, so there will not any worse happen to you, So, and sin is transgression of the law, not the Roman law. We're talking about God's law, So the Romanizers want us to lead us away from the law, and they have been doing that for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and also, of course, killing those that wants to keep the law. And they have really hated the law, on so many levels, and broken it down. broken it down through the ages. It's actually, the idea of actually getting back to it might actually not be that, what shall we say, to find out what were the first Christians actually, but we know what they believed. They kept the law. They were teaching the law. So if the first Christians were keeping the law and zealous for the law and on fire for the law and was teaching the law of Moses, and in regards to the testimony of Jayshua HaMashiach, in regards to Jesus Christ, believing that he was the Messiah, well, if the first Christians did that, well, we know that they did that. So if we know they did that, right, well, maybe we should pick up on that, right? And turn away from the Romanizers, and not care about what the Antichrist, the Roman Antichrist says, because that's, the Roman Antichrist wants to, Satan wants to be like God. So it isn't really, when we see the triune tyrant having 3 crowns, well, God has 3 crowns, right? In regards to the book of Revelation, well, of course, Satan wants 3 crowns as well, right? So, anyway, he wants to be like God. He wants to take his place. So, of course, we should expect, when we see the Antichrist taking all the titles that God have in the Bible and then take it upon himself, and that's the papacy. The seat and the office of the papacy is the Antichrist, and of the number 666. And every Protestant knew this by second nature. It was just second nature to them, because that they were instructed in the Bible and real history, and they apparently, as far as I can see, they must have known a lot more than we. We have become ignorant. We have become not knowing, ignorant, I guess that's the right word. We don't know anything in our days. The truth has been hidden away from us on so many levels. The Jesuits has been very effective. And now, as I understand, they're running the ecumenical movement and leading the so-called Protestants back to the Antichrist. But of course, the Protestants don't even know what it is, in regards to being a Protestant. Because a Protestant is someone that protests the Antichrist, to protest all his wicked lies and deceptions and burn the canon laws in the fire and all his bullshit and all that. Wake up, people, and do some research and figure out what, because lots of lies, and we are going for poop doom, the so-called New World Order, which is pretty much just the old world order on steroids, as far as I can see. I call it poop doom, pretty much. It's going to be, something where, it's going to be a thing where the Roman Emperor has, control again, totally visible control, and over the whole world, and it's already going in that direction, and it's just moving quickly in to fulfilling this. Oh, that's nice. I don't know. It's just incredible how much I can drink. Anyway, that's all for me. May Jehovah be with you, and Jayshua be a most precious pearl, and the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, be in us all. Amen. Have a good one, all of you. Shabbat Shalom. That's a little, that's like 6 hours left or something like that of the last day in Denmark, anyway. But anyway, well, have a good one, and I guess that's over and out. And I need to see the rest of the Michael Root show and all that. I just had to check this because, if I remember correctly, I actually have checked it before, and if I remember correctly, I actually have reached out to them, and but. Maybe I can do that again, but it just doesn't seem to stop them promoting this, apparently. Another thing is that in the book that Michael Rood wrote in regards of, he says that he has another false information as far as I can see, so we could actually just take that. And I'm not saying, he's doing a lot of good things, so don't get me wrong, absolutely don't get me wrong. He's doing, in regards to he's leading people back to the festivals and all that, so that's nice. Of course, I don't agree with Hanukkah and Purim and all that, but he's doing a lot of, he's doing a lot of research, and he has a lot of good information. So don't get me wrong, it's just when you find something that, that doesn't seem to be totally. Here we go. He says it was Eusebius who first proposed a 3.5 year ministry 300 years after the resurrection of Jayshua. And he says, every church father, so-called father, and historian for the first 3 centuries either clearly stated or never contradicted that Yeshua's ministry was about 1 year. And again, it might be true that it's only 1 year, or I don't know if it's 3.5 or 1 year, but, this is, in regards of Eusebius being the first to propose this, is, as far as I can see, not true. Melito actually says 3 years. That Yeshua's ministry was 3 years. And Melito's testimony, I think, would be pretty, looking at some of what this guy wrote. I'm so sad that we don't have his books, I think that would be a lot of goodies in that, guys. But apparently the Romanizers didn't really like Melito, so it seems that actually Rome was the effect that his books was lost in history. Who knows, maybe Rome actually has his books down in the library or something like that, hidden away, but again, in regards of history, we see how the Romanizers are taking away things from, I can't remember what that was. That was one in regards of where the leaders succumbed to, and they gave away all their books and people were very angry at the lead. And that's the thing. If they can just get the leaders, to if they have the information and they get corrupts and all that and fall down for Rome and all that. The corruption that has happened over time in this world, it's incredible. But anyway, so I have tried to, because Melito was in the 2nd century, so and again, if you look at some of his things that he wrote, I think it's it's he was deep. He was really deep in scripture. It seems. At least some of his writings are really, I think, awesome. And he's from the right area in regards to the place that rejected Paulus and all that. So, I do wonder how Michael Rood actually looks at the 70 weeks in regards, if he thinks there's a gap in it that, some people think there's a gap. Where do you see that gap? Do you see the gap? And show me the gap, in some sense, it's, and of course, he had to be cut off in the middle of the week. So if he's cut off in the middle of the week, well, that's 29.5 AD. So anyway, I have a lot of notes, in regards of different things that I put in. But but he says if Eusebius, it was Eusebius who first proposed a 3.1 year ministry, 300 years after the resurrection of Yeshua. Every church, so-called father and historian for the first 3 centuries either clearly stated or never contradicted that Yeshua's ministry was about 1 year. Well, that's just not true. Again, go to Melito. Look up Melito and see what he says. Again, or give me, it would be, at least mention or whatever, I don't know if Michael Rood didn't know in regards to Melito, but at least he should have, anyway. So it says, Eusebius proposed his undocumented assertion as a fulfillment of Daniel's 70-week prophecy, and now after 1600 years, his eschatological adherents continue to voice his unproven invention with unwavering conviction. His assumptions destroyed any chance of understanding the prophecy of Daniel that he was purportedly solving. Furthermore, Eusebius' followers have been left with unsolvable contradictions if his inventions are maintained. Again, I'm not sure. I haven't read the whole book of Michael Rood and all that. I don't know how he actually looks on the 70 weeks. In regards of if he actually, I don't know if he shoots the 70 weeks out in the future or what. As we see a lot of people actually do, which, as far as I understand, it goes back to the Jesuits. So yeah, I don't really know. Let's see here. The life and 70-week ministry of Messiah utilizes every verse in the gospel record from the corrected King James Version, and it's assembled in chronological order and so forward. I don't know. He talks about the Tetragrammaton of the Almighty Jehovah was removed from the English versions of the Hebrew Scriptures because the Pharisaic Taganode, which forbade its use except under very strict defined circumstance. But again, why would we ever listen to the Pharisees and all that? Of course, the Roman Catholic Church don't want you to use the name either. It's just bullshit, Why would we ever listen to that organization? That's corrupting the scriptures. I have some more information. Okay, here we go. There's the origin, but I don't know in regards to the 70 weeks how he actually looks on that. He has some good information. I'm just not all on the same page on some of the things for sure. I'm not sure about the big deal either. Of course, we want to be as close to the truth as possible. But I don't know. I don't know if it's 3.5 years or 1 year and all that in regards of the ministry of him, of Jayshua. It might be 1 year, I don't know. But in any case, but it wasn't. It was Melito that actually talked about 3 years, and I would think that Melito was, he's pretty close to the events, so, or maybe it's corrupted, I don't know, corrupted document said to be from Melito that is not from Melito, I don't know, but at least we have a source saying 3 years from Melito, so, at least, if you search on Google and all that, you can, Melito, 3 years ministry. And actually, I think Melito, yes, ministry. Let's see here. Melito of Sardis on Baptist. No, that was not that. Calls the ministry 3 years. I can't remember which document. Maybe it was in some of the things that I wrote not long ago, where it talks about the 3 years. I'm not sure. The 3 years theory so far is known from the literature that has to assign to the public ministry of Jesus a direction of 3 years was Melito. So again, so to say that Eusebius, doesn't seem to be correct, and I don't know. Even if Melito wrote it, could he be mistaken? He could, I guess. That's a possibility. Melito is known to have been, in his time, a most esteemed apologist. That guy really knew, the things that are, it's just wonderful, some of his writings. In his Perisaskosios Christui or something like that, Anastasius informs us he wrote us following in opposition into Marcion. Oh, so we actually have something in regards of what he actually wrote against Marcion. Sadly, we have lost so much material from him. It would be nice to see it actually come forward. Then the book actually told, this is Greek. Do we have a translation of the Greek? Oh, come on. Oh, come on. So they're actually giving me, Anastasius informs us he wrote as follows in opposition to Marcion. And then it's just in Greek. Yeah, great. Yeah, great. Don't write it in English, Don't write it in English, of course. Let's not, because he was the one of those that actually wrote against, let's see if we can actually, maybe I can translate it with Google Translate, Let's see here, camera, and let's see if we can maybe, no, yeah, there we go. It's just a little slow when it's recording. Aim text, okay, so let's have it there. No, okay. I wanted to take a picture instead. There was something in regards to where you can actually take a picture, and can I actually just, maybe it's, import, okay, scan, instant, can I just, scan? I don't wonder what scan is, okay, that's, okay, maybe take a picture, okay. There we go, and of course it needs to be Greek. Okay, and we want this one. That's a little hot. Okay, and we want, okay, we want it to translate to, from the Greek, right? So, English, no, we want to have Greek. Translate from Greek, A, B, C, D, E, F, there we go. And we want it to translate into English, yes, and we should try again and see if we can aim the text. Haven't really used this much, and I can just take a picture first. Okay, and let's just take this one again. Okay, let's see what it says. This divinity through the signs in the 3 years after baptism, and its humanity in the 30 years before baptism. This divinity then mean theotheta. Okay, let's see. Then, okay, they actually gets it right in regards of the words. A little wrong in regards of the. It actually says up here. Can we actually change that? It says, but of course it might have just be Old Greek or something like that. Let's see what it says. It says the, and then it actually says thorn, like this, and a V. And what do we have more? We have Simeon in the. Can we see more of the text? This is just not working so good. Okay, the. Oh, come on. Can I do like this maybe? Oh, there we go. So we have tree eta the metator. What do we have more? To ba baptisma or something like that. Baptisma. That must be baptism or something like that. Okay, looks good. And so it's done a pretty good job, I guess. Yep. Tois pro. Yeah, okay. So the rest looks correctly. So this divinity, through the signs of the 3 years after baptism. So through the, it's really hot, this mobile. So maybe you can get both of them in regards to the Greek and the English. So this divinity through the signs of the 3 years after baptism and its humanity during the 30 years before baptism. Okay, so that's interesting because I thought there was another. I think there's another source actually, at least one other source from Melito saying that, if I remember correctly. But anyway, I might be wrong, but I think there was another source that I. But at least okay, so that's one. That's interesting. So it says the genuineness of this fragment has been contested. It has been pointed out that Perisiskosios or something like that, Christua, is not named in the list of Melito's work given by Eusebius. The expression triatia has occasioned surprise. Attention has been drawn to the fact that the author of this fragment assumes a 3-year ministry and does not set forth the grounds on which he assigned to it so long a direction. Again, the fragment has been suspected on theological grounds, it being maintained that such a distinction as is drawn in it between the divinity and the humanity of Jesus belongs to the period of monophysite controversy rather than to the 2nd century. These arguments, however, are not unanswerable. Eusebius does not pretend to give a full list of the works of Melito. If in the part, and that's, the thing is, we know that Melito wrote a lot of books, but we don't have them because, again, I think we can thank Rome for that, because the Romanizers didn't like his book, and thereby, yeah, it went out of, what do you call it? They went out of, book sales. If in the part of the Christian world where Melito lived, the idea had already obtained for some time that the period of Jesus' ministry was one of 3 years, there's no good reason why by his stay it may not have come to be referred to as the Tritia. The question at issue was not one of the length of the ministry, it was one as to the nature of Christ's person. It would have made no essential difference to Melito's contention had he said that Christ had revealed his Godhead for 1 year, that he gave the period as 3 years, and not one can have been due solely to the fact that he had reason to regard that as the truth of the matter. Obviously, to give that reason in this particular place was unnecessary. The suspicions with the theology of the passage was occasions have been considered by Harnack, who writes, and then we get some German and all that. Yeah, it's great. Die offenkundig wir Wandschaft der Melitonischeren und Tertullianischen Schriftstellerei und der Gebrauch. I have no idea what he's saying, okay? And it goes on and on. Anyway, in any case, I think there was another source, that I read from Melito. Some of the source, maybe I'm wrong. I thought that actually says 3 years as well in another source. So that you actually have 2 sources talking about that. But anyway, I should stop now because my nose is getting blocked, being talking so long and all that. Anyway, have a good one, and yeah, let's stick some more after the truth, right? That's a good thing, digging for the truth. Again, there's a lot of liars and deceivers out there in the world, so, and we have to stand for truth as the best of our ability, That's anyway, and as always in Denmark, it's raining as usual and gray. We have very sad weather in Denmark, That's just nearly every day, nearly every day it's like gray and raining. So anyway, have a good one.